How's it going, everyone? My name is SRJ, and welcome to my guide/review of the Blight. This video will cover his strengths and weaknesses, strategies playing as him, strategies playing against him, and my overall thoughts of how he fits into the Dead by Daylight meta. Without further ado, let's get started. Alright, first, to understand the Blight better, let's go over his power in more detail. His power is called Blighted Corruption, which, by consuming tokens, allows him to do two different kinds of charges, the first being called Rush, and the second one being called Lethal Rush. When the Blight first activates his power, he enters Rush, which will dash him forward very quickly and consume one token. He dashes forward for 3 seconds, and during that time, he can run into a wall or obstacle, and if he does, he can activate his power again to enter Lethal Rush, which is just like Rush, but now he can hit survivors mid-dash. However, the Blight can't go too long without a fix. He will enter a fatigue state when he runs out of tokens, the Chain Rush window closes, or when Rush or Lethal Rush end without bumping into additional obstacles. It should be noted that the fatigue state does pull his head down like the nurse. Unlike her, it doesn't pull his head down nearly as far, so survivors may potentially be seen while he's in the animation. After the fatigue state ends, the Blight will start to regain one token every 2 seconds. The Blight is also unable to activate his power again until he regains all of his tokens. And that's about it for his power. Now let's move on to how to play as the Blight. Alright, first off I have to say that playing the Blight can be a lot of fun, but it can also be a major pain in the butt if you play him wrong for a couple of reasons. So let's start off with the pros of playing the Blight. First things first, he has insane map presence. Thanks to his power, no generator or survivor is too far for him. He can be hooking a survivor 1 second, and then be on the other side of the map chasing the survivor he just saw with barbecue and chili in just a couple more seconds. One thing I have to say about this is don't be afraid to use your power to just cross the map. Putting pressure on other survivors will keep them off generators or unhooking fellow teammates, making it a win-win in your book. Secondly, he can end loops quickly. The Blight can be so mobile sometimes that he can just catch up to survivors quicker than other killers in a chase and force them to throw pallets early. Watch this clip here as I come in at Mach 1 and the survivor having to throw the pallet instantly before being able to get more use out of it. This applies to the Killer Shack as well on certain maps. You can threaten to hit survivors vaulting the window from the pallet door. Thirdly, his add-ons can throw survivors off. While most of his add-ons are pretty boring in my opinion, a couple of his can throw off the timing of survivors, including the one that increases the speed of each consecutive rush, and if a survivor is not paying close attention, you can most likely take advantage of that and get an extra hit in. But just like human beings, no one is perfect, and the Blight does have some rather large downsides. The first one being is that he's extremely map dependent. The Blight loves maps that are semi-open. This allows him to move quickly across it while still having a reliable object to bounce off of. Small enclosed maps like Larry's, Hawking's Institute, and the game have tons of tight corners that prevent you from being able to reliably use your power, either to traverse across the map or hit a survivor with Lethal Rush. Furthermore, even on maps that favor you, there will always be a loop or pallet that you can't use your power effectively on, thereby making you an M1 killer for that entire loop. With the Blight's power, he is extremely feast or famine. Kind of going off what I just said, his power is not always reliable to get hits. Like Nurse, Missing your hit after using some tokens of your power can be extremely detrimental to the time it takes to catch their survivor. You have to remember, you can't use your power until all your tokens have recharged, so if you spent all of them to try and hit a survivor with lethal rush and miss, you probably wasted more time trying to do that than just chasing them like a killer with no power. Another thing about the Blight is that lethal rush does not count as a basic attack. A lot of people will find this out the hard way, like I did, where they will run his new perk Dragon's Grip, catch up with the survivor who triggered it, and hit them with lethal rush, only to find out that lethal rush does not bring them down to the dying state. That also means that perks like Sloppy Butcher, Make Your Choice, and Gearhead will be less beneficial to you. Alright, so we've been leveling up our knowledge to level 50 on how to play as the Blight, but what is it like to play against him? What can you do to help survive against this fast and ferocious killer? And while I wish I could show you footage of me going up against the Blight as Survivor, I have about 20 matches recorded and I only won against him once, so it seems like no one's really playing him right now, so I guess that's all the more reason to make this video to convince more of you to play him in the future. But with that said, I have gone against him a couple times off stream, so with my knowledge of playing as him, here's some advice to help you survive against him. So the biggest thing to remember when going against the Blight is that when he's using his power, he can't turn very tightly. Other than initiating either rush or lethal rush, the moments of time of when he can turn tightly is when he's basic attacking in lethal rush. So to show what I'm talking about, here's an example. I initiate my chase against Fang here by using Rush, and bounce off the rock to get into lethal rush so I can hit her. I start to turn the corner and then I initiate my basic attack to turn tighter so I can land the hit. It's right here that you see the turn radius gets extremely tight, and that's where the start of the attack is. Knowing this, as the survivor, you want to try to find tight angles that the Blight can't use his power to turn into, such as this player here by running into the room. If I wanted to continue the chase here against this Fang, it forces me to eat the 2.5 second fatigue time in order to do that, giving the Fang valuable time to get away. Unfortunately, her friend didn't take the same advice. Another thing about the Blight is that he's short. Really short. He can't even see over the guardrails here. Joking aside though, his vision is really low to the ground compared to other killers, so as the survivor, you may be able to hide behind a rock or a wall and probably not be seen by him. And this brings my biggest tip of advice when going against the Blight, is that to use stealth. Stealth is your best friend against him, because once you're in a chase, you're most likely not going to outrun him. Not being seen by him means that the Blight is most likely using his tokens to search the map instead of using them to help him get a hit in the chase. And that's it. Overall, I think he's a great addition to the game. When he gets the right map and he's in capable hands, I think he could be a very, very powerful killer. I've tried out a couple of different perks on him, but here are my favorites. So currently, I use Barbecue and Chili, Dragon's Grip, Pop Goes the Weasel, and Iron Maiden. Barbecue and Chili because you can usually catch up to the survivors that you see with your wall hacks. Even though Dragon's Grip is a basic attack-based perk, which are not as good on the Blight, the survivor remains exposed for 60 seconds, so usually it's enough time for you to catch up to them with your power and then hit them with your basic attack to instant down them. Plus, it's a nice reveal to give away their location to you. Pop Goes the Weasel because you'll be often hooking survivors and be able to use your power to get to any gen on the map that you want to get extra regression on. I run Iron Maiden because oftentimes I found survivors trying to counter Barbecue and Chili by hiding in lockers, only to find out that their location is still revealed to me because of this perk. It happens more often than you think. But these are just the perks that I run, however there are a couple other ones that I can recommend as well. As I said earlier, often there are loops that you can't use your power reliably in, so perks like Spirit Fury and Enduring can help you in those situations. And the last perk I recommend is Monitor and Abuse. Monitor and Abuse will allow you to get 8 meters closer to survivors who are working on an objective without your terror radius tipping them off. Combining this with your power means that sometimes survivors might not be able to react in time before you're already in a chase with them. Plus, it gives you additional field of view, so it can be helpful in spotting an additional survivor. And that's it. I hope this video helps you a lot with your future matches as or against the Blight. If you liked this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing down below. This is my first video ever on YouTube, and I'm still trying to figure a lot of things out. So if I missed anything or there's something that you want to see, leave a comment down below and I'll take a look at it. And other than that, I'll see you next time.